single week I sit down with a woman who really encompasses those words, someone who's been in business for a while and is at the top of her game. So let's find out who I sat with this week.
Most cigarette smoke in a room comes from the lit end. Unfiltered and even more toxic, it attacks vital organs of everyone who breathes it, increasing their chances of heart disease by 1/4, even if they've never smoked. But the scariest thing is, you can't even see it. 85% is invisible. Second-hand smoke. The invisible killer.
So hi Patricia.
Hi Kubi.
Well, thank you for joining me here at Sisterhood. I really appreciate it.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So Patricia, you have worked for one of the most recognised organisations in the UK. Tell me a little bit about the COI.
COI stands for Central Office of Information, and basically what we are, we're a government communication agency. So we're responsible for all the advertising and campaigns across government. So anything related to health, wealth benefits, education and recruitment. So we've worked on quite a wide range of campaigns. So I think the ones that are most popular are the things like the anti-smoking campaign.
They're fantastic adverts, really
big.
good.
Quite controversial last year with the hook coming out of the mouth, but yeah. We've worked on armed forces recruitment, so I've done stuff with the Navy and the RAF.
Fantastic. And are you also responsible for the Think campaign as well?
Yes,
which is
yes,
brilliant.
the road safety. Yes, we're involved
really,
in the road
really
safety
good campaign. And just out of curiosity, the one with the mobile phone. That was an ingenious idea. You know when the kids have the mobile
when they're
phone?
walking down the road and chatting on the mobile phone.
Yeah, ingenious idea. Okay, so in essence, so the COI, government agency, and you're responsible for all the ads that come out.
Basically, and it's not just advertising that we look at. We look at other marketing communication techniques to engage with public. Because generally speaking now, you know, people are quite savvy to advertising. So we're having to think of more creative ways to get our messages across.
Fantastic. And so, Patricia, your role is what in the COI?
Basically, I work as part of the COI diversity team, and I head up BME team, communications team.
Excuse you.
You know.
As you do.
Exactly. And basically what we're responsible for is just making sure that all government information that goes out to the public is accessible to ethnic minorities. So really trying to kind of get under the skin of communication campaigns and make sure that we take into consideration cultural nuances which may prevent someone from accessing government information or even receiving it.
Fantastic. And I would imagine, as you know, the EU gates have opened, you've got more Eastern Europeans coming in.
Oh yes.
And so that it's a big need, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's about 700,000 Polish people in the UK. And yes, there are language issues, there are cultural issues, there are all sorts of barriers that can prevent them from receiving government information. So we have to work that much harder to engage those audiences. So yeah, really topical at the moment.
It is. And it's interesting for me because, as you know, Patricia, I worked in New York, and America are so far advanced when it comes to multicultural marketing. They understand it, they get it, they've got agencies that support it. How are you finding it as head of the country? The BME department?
Yes.
Okay,
yeah.
So how are you finding it for you?
It's becoming more recognised, but there's still a lot of work to do. I mean, part of my role is not just about managing campaigns and getting information out there and doing advertising and various other marketing initiatives. It's about education, educating clients to why they would need a multicultural campaign and sort of moving campaigns beyond that stereotypical view of a black person or an Asian person and saying, actually, it's not like that anymore. Or moving away from that tokenistic way of doing things. Oh, let's just, have we got one black, one Chinese, one Asian, and put them all stacked up. We don't do that, and we try to educate why you don't do that. Most of the clients that I deal with, they've just never actually come in contact with some of the audiences that they're trying to engage with. So we sort of the bridge between the target audience and government.
Fantastic role, needed. And so what's been the journey for you to get from, I suppose, university to where you are now?
Kubi, it has been a long journey.
I can imagine.
But a rewarding journey. I never sort of planned to go into kind of cultural diversity marketing. I've always been focused on marketing. Right from college, I did business studies, but specialised in marketing. Went on to university, studied business studies again, specialised in marketing. And it was that kind of, always liked the marketing element, but couldn't quite work out how I was going to go home and tell my parents that I wanted to do marketing. Because every time I get talking to them about marketing, what's that? You know, I want you to be a lawyer.
Yeah,
I want you to be, exactly. I want you to be a doctor. What's this? You know. So, you know, once I'd made a decision that I was going to go to university, I sort of plucked up the courage and said to my parents, "This is what I want to do." And actually, it wasn't as bad as what I thought it was going to be. They were really, really supportive.
Fantastic.
And they were like, "Great, you know, do whatever you want to do. It's your life, but we're just happy that you're going to university. Full stop." But it was my good foundation in the marketing, and I think you should never despise small beginnings.
Absolutely.
Because that's where I started, that's where I built the foundation, that's where I got the understanding of how, because it's one thing sort of learning in a classroom, but then when you're put in the real world, then you have to kind of make things happen.
Absolutely.
And sometimes the theory doesn't work, it doesn't translate, and so you've got to be practical. And so that was a really good grounding into, you know, what marketing's about. And it kind of helped me to decide what is it I wanted to do. So after that, I left university thinking that the world was my oyster, and quite quickly was really sort of discouraged by the response that I was getting when I was applying for marketing roles.
Really?
You know, graduate schemes and all sorts, and I really kind of pushed the boat because I came out, was ready to go.
As you
yes,
do.
I'm going to be, you know, the top marketing person, and then quite quickly got deflated. Was going for interviews, wasn't getting jobs. I always got the interview, but just couldn't be able to cross that bridge to get the actual job. And I remember just thinking, what is it? You know, like I used to say to my mum, gosh, you know, what am I going to do? And then one day an opportunity came up where I'd registered with one of these specialist recruitment agencies. And she called me, she said, "Oh, we got a job for you. It's really high profile. It's, you know, government work." And I thought, oh gosh, politics. I can't
Politics
do
and policy.
Yeah, exactly. Politics and policy I can't do. My mum's heavily into politics, so I wanted to avoid that at all costs. And I thought, well, go to the interview, there's no harm. And I went, and I got the job. And it was really weird because it was the first job that I'd gone for that I didn't really know much about the organisation. Could you imagine all the other jobs that I'd done? I'd swatted, I'd done all my homework, I knew exactly what the organisation, I could tell them what their next, you know, business objectives were for the next, you know, 5 years. But this organisation I knew nothing about. I just went there and I was just myself, really. And that seemed to have worked, and I got the job. So once I got in, I was there, and I enjoyed the role, but I started off as an assistant marketing manager, and it was interesting, but not what I thought it was going to be. And I was like, right, okay, 4 months into it, oh, maybe it's going to spice up a bit, and it didn't for a little while. And then I went to a meeting, a big sort of army recruitment meeting with all their advertising agencies and everybody going la 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 la, patting each other on the back. And I met a girl there, and I said, "Oh, what do you do?" She goes, "I work for COI." And I said, "Oh, I've never seen you before." And I said, "What do you do?" She goes, "Oh, I'm the cultural diversity advisor." I was like, "Oh, so what does that mean then?" And she kind of explained to me what she does. I thought that's really, really interesting. And I remember speaking to her when I got back to the office. I said, "Look, I don't have any experience in cultural diversity marketing, but I'm really interested, and I'm a hard worker, and I'm passionate about the things that I do." And she said, "No, you know what? I really like you.
Brilliant.
Come and work with me."
Brilliant.
And it was, you know, government's often criticised for being bureaucratic, but in this instance, it really wasn't. It was like one day I was sitting in the direct marketing team, the next minute I was sitting with the cultural diversity advisor of COI, so I transferred over.
Fantastic.
And it's just gone up and up ever since.
Talking of up and up, you have recently been awarded the Power 100 Next Generation.
Oh, yes.
Yes, well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
And for anyone who doesn't know how big a deal that is, tell us.
It is huge.
It's
I mean,
humongous.
it's like the industry recognise, you know, talent within the market, and as you know, the market is huge. For someone from public sector to get recognised is huge, because if you look at the list, there's only about 2 of us from the charity sector and public sector. It's usually like the major blue chip companies.
The Saatchis and Saatchis.
Absolutely. The Unilevers of this world.
Absolutely. So how did that come about?
Well, actually, it's my organisation. The management board made a decision that they wanted to put me forward.
Fantastic.
And it was, I was completely cut out of the equation. And then someone said to me, oh, do you know we're going to put you forward for this? Oh, but don't get your hopes up, because it's really tough competition and you might not get through. And I was like, yeah. And so I kept it really quiet. I didn't say anything. And then suddenly I got this phone call from marketing, and they said, oh, when are you available? We want to come and do a photo shoot. And I was like, photo shoot for what? And I was like, have I been shortlisted? Oh, we can't say. And then we got the magazine 2 weeks later, and bam, right there.
Fantastic. So I'm privy to know that you're a mum. So tell us a little bit about your little one. How old is he?
5.
He's 5?
He's 5.
Fantastic.
He's gorgeous.
I can imagine. And so how has it been being a working mum, juggling the two? What have been the challenges and how have you overcome them?
The main thing is getting the balance, the work-life balance, and obviously, childcare is a big issue. But you know what? It has been the making of me. Ever since I've had my son, it's made me more determined, more focused, and more sort of passionate. And nothing's going to stop me, because I see myself as being an example, a role model for him.
Absolutely.
And it's so important for him to see his mum sort of going out there and not letting anything stop her. Yes, I'm a mum, but yes, I've also got a career as well.
Fantastic.
So multitasking.
And we do that well,
exactly.
don't we?
Exactly.
I mean, we've talked on the show quite a bit about the challenge of work-life balance. What's your key to getting the balance?
Do you know what? It's discipline, self-discipline. Before I had Carvel, I used to stay at work till 7, 8 o'clock, and it didn't matter. But now I can't do that. I take him to school, so I do the school run in the morning, and then I dash to work. But when I get to work, it's very focused. I operate on a diary system. All my meetings are scheduled. People know the first when they can book me in for a meeting, so I don't have anything earlier than 10 o'clock and nothing later than 4 o'clock. And when I get to work, I don't engage in these petty conversations of how was your weekend?
And the politics.
Exactly. It's focus, head down, get on with the work.
What advice would you give to anybody that might be trying to get into a role in marketing, particularly in the government remit?
I think really it's about having a clear goal of what you want to do, what you want to achieve, and not being moved from that. So you may get knockbacks, you may apply for things and they say, well, actually, you're not right for X, Y, and Z reason. But taking the feedback, taking the constructive feedback and building on that and really saying, right, no, actually, this is what I want to do and I believe that I can do this. And just keep going and you will excel, you will do it.
Absolutely.
And I believe that anything you put your mind to, you can do it.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Well, that's some good advice. Thank you. Thank you for that. All right, Patricia, now this is the part of the interview, don't laugh! This is part of the interview where we find out about the woman behind the business, the woman behind the brand. And we like to ask 6 silly questions. Okay? So the first thing that comes to your mind, don't think about it.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Question number 1. What's the first thing that you do in the morning?
Oh, I thank God.
Amen! Amen.
Thank God for my life.
Harrods versus Primark.
I would say Harrods, but if I was to tell the truth, it's Primark.
Fantastic. Patricia, if you could come back in any era, what era would it be?
Probably the 70s, because I'm really into my mum's clothes. Like when I look at it, I'm like, yeah. And I've bought a couple of things that are in that era. So
okay, so are you the big afros?
The kind of the big afro, the skirt, short skirts. Yeah. I can work that.
You can work that. I hear you. What is your motto in life?
My motto? That's a very interesting. My motto is that I believe that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Oh gosh, that's such a hard one. Anywhere where it's hot.
Anywhere it's hot, yeah. A beach.
A beach, hot.
Sun.
Sun, exactly. Yeah. That's me.
Fantastic. And lastly, Patricia, what inspires you?
Really and honestly and truly, it's my relationship with God. That's what keeps me going.
Fantastic.
That's what helps me to keep pushing. That's what gives me my strength. He is my everything. That is it.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really, really appreciate it. I know your diary is completely mad, so Sisterhood, they need to recognise how much it's been a struggle. We've got you, and I really, really, really appreciate it.
It's been an absolute pleasure, and I really, really, really do thank you for inviting me.
Pleasure. Wow, fantastic. Well, I need to thank, first of all, Solutions at Gem for sponsoring this special guest segment. Absolutely great. And as our special guest said, if you want to find out more information about who she is and what she does, if you're trying to step on the career ladder or maybe diversify your career, then go onto the website. It's www.sisterhoodtv.com.